Hey everyone, Paul Daniels here, and welcome to another daily fix at night time. So, you're probably thinking, he's going to bring another A1466 out, and you are almost correct. It's actually a 1465. This one's come in as a special job, and yeah, these are fairly underrated little machines, I think, given that they're compact, and most people don't really consider them to have a lot of power, but compared to the equivalent 10, 11-inch PCs, these were pretty good little machines. I've got one myself. I don't use it that often, but if you want something that you can just sort of slip into your man-sized wallet, then these do the trick pretty good. Also good for if you're on a network diagnostics or something, you just need to have an easy to carry around laptop that will let you do whatever you got to do on the network when you're out on site, rather than lugging around a big PC laptop or something, or even just any big laptop. Anyway, enough waffling on, because I do that a little bit too much. I've got a little dent in the corner here, pretty normal for these sort of things. This one doesn't power up at all. MagSafe doesn't seem to come up, I don't think. It just is dead, so I guess we'll open it up, have a look, and see what we can do. What I might do first is plug in my DC power supply and see what's going on with this one. We actually do get a green light, and we're jumping up to 700, 800. It's doing something. 900, so it's definitely not dead. We're up to an amp. 1.2. Let's open it up. So we don't seem to be booting though, and the screen doesn't seem to be energizing. I think we're charging. That's what's going on there. See if what the hell? It's booting. We have a folder there. Now this wouldn't have been sent in without it not working right. So I'd say we've got something intermittent going on in there. So let's crack it open and find out what it is. It gives it hope. At least we know the CPU's alive, we know the screen's alive, we know the battery must be working. So yeah, it's worth having a shot at this. I think the big problem with this particular model is that it's not really worth it to a lot of people to get them fixed. The 13-inch 4066s, 1466s, they sort of mentally offer a superior value proposition. So if someone says, it's going to cost you $300 to get this fixed, then physically you look at the machine, you go, that's probably worth it. New ones of those are $1,200. So yeah, let's give it a shot. But you look at these ones and you kind of think, yeah, maybe not. Let's crack this open. Really don't have enough light here. Nothing much I can do. Well, first thing that comes to mind is this screw here is completely wrong. For a start, it's Phillips head. It's got a little washer on it or something. I don't know how on earth that's going on. So maybe we've got a machine that's been used before or recycled. So pop the battery off. As always, we'll take the battery out. Okay, this one is a little different to the 1466, of course, but same thing applies. We've got the usual cracked corners, which goes along with the dented corners. There was the only thing with MagSafe is that sometimes it didn't let go fast enough, or it just couldn't stop the inevitable anyway, and then the restraining force from the MagSafe always meant that the laptops would fall a certain way. The battery is good, the indicators are all good. Let's have a look under the microscope and see what we're dealing with. So it's a 3435 board. See what I mean by the screw? That's definitely, well, I'm almost certain that's not standard. I shouldn't say definitely, because I don't really handle these very often. This would be about maybe the third one ever. Programming interface seems okay. And I'd say that's probably our problem there, right there. That's on the 3G42 section, and it's probably marginal. Yep, that would be my guess. And interesting, the screen is actually partially detached. Look at that. That could have been from the original shock, I guess. Just disconnect that as precaution. Now I suppose half of me is wondering, should I remove this board just for precaution's sake? I'm going to take this SSD out. At the very least put... Yeah, I mean it's... Thing's got an actual separate washer on it. That's... I'm sorry, but that's going in the bin before another accident happens. Especially considering this is one of the good SSDs. It's got the non-Toshiba or non-Samsung controller on it. I really should take this out of the board because of the fact that if I try and clean this up, heat it up, you can bet your boots I am going to melt this clutch cover or whatever they call it. So yeah, we'll take it out, we'll check on the back, make sure there's nothing else. Let's have a look at see what that part is though. Okay, so we've got the, so I would say it's this part here, R7012. If we have a look at that, that's providing a pull down, sort of a weak pull down functionality for the source and the DC input. Now I wonder what happens if that, now it's a P channel, so interesting note here. It's like input impedance of 68k, and this is a 68k resistance, meets the SPA architecture requirements for detection of B121, 16.5 volts. So it's some sort of sensor type situation, and if that is out of whack, it may not detect the power coming in properly. Now it may be that the reason why this worked on my DC power supply is because of the fact that the power supply is just pumping in the voltage regardless. Alright. Well, that's all fine for assumptions. Let's get this out and see what the other side looks like. We'll work on the lighting in due time. I've got other things to worry about right now. Still in the throes of trying to finish fencing and enclosures for the kitty cats. And time is running out, which means everything else gets a back seat. And I have to go outside and be Mr. Tim the Toolman or Bob the Builder Fix-It. I've got stuff to do, no time to do it. It's hard enough just getting the energy to do it. You know, you wake up in the morning after a hard night of running around arguing with people on Discord and oh, you got nothing left for the next day when you're supposed to do proper work with customers and jobs and housework. It's interesting. The that was the cheesehead, that was the cheesehead, that was standard. Really didn't want to damage that camera connector. Last thing you want to do. Oh nice, I actually did this properly. You see they've just attached the rubber sealing type grommet onto the fan only, nothing else. It's a nice change. Normally it loops around the heatsink, and of course when they do that you forget about it right up until just before you're finished putting in the last screw, and then you have a bit of a crisis with yourself as you try to decide whether you ship that out incomplete, whether you do the right thing, pull it all apart and put it in. Okay, we've got a bit of stickiness there, or no, it's not stickiness. Always good reason not to apply too much force. There's a screw under the Wi-Fi module. Yeah, hello, sneaky screw. And with that, we have our freedom. Kind of curious, I just realised the SSD was in there, but we still got the folder symbol. So here we are on the other side. Let's look around. Backlight's fine. Doesn't really seem to be anything further. SMC area looks perfectly good. And given that it is booting up to a folder and all that, I certainly wouldn't be inclined to place any blame on that right now. Can change, but for now, no. Let's go back to the other side where there was the corrosion. So we see here this is where our problem primarily is. And it looks like it was just merely an unfortunate little drop of something got in there and then flowed back onto it. So with the SSD area now. Yeah. Doesn't look like anything dramatic there. There's a little bit of long screwing going on in there. And what do you know, yeah, that's where the SSD screw was. So yes, they put the wrong one in there and they've cut into those tracks. Oh gee, I hope there hasn't. That's gonna really be unfortunate if they actually have cut through something. I sort of feel it would be ground plane around here, but you never know. What's this? A little bit of green corrosion. Yeah, that might be a problem. We'll find out. Personally though, as far as I can tell, the data lines for the SSD though pretty much just go straight to there. It's a big ball there, but that's just manufacturing. Yeah, there's none of this sort of going over here and dancing around and then coming back here. It just pretty much goes straight from there, straight into the CPU. Let's fix this up and see how we go. So we've got this blob of stuff off. And we can see that is very nicely corroded. I'm not even going to bother measuring what it is because it just needs to be cleaned up and replaced. I was just very lucky that as soon as I opened it I could see that little bit of weirdness on the pad. Okay, does that go anywhere or? Oh gee. Oh wait, no. Yep, there we go. So it could almost be disconnected. Scratch that back. I wonder if there's a veer going down there. There's pretty much nothing left of that. Just kind of curious to see whether the copper will just come clean off, or whether we've genuinely got a veer under there. I'd be very surprised if there's a veer under there. Yeah, we definitely don't have a veer there. And what we can do for this is the value is fairly standard. 68K is a very standard value for a resistor. So we'll just scratch back a bit of this copper here and put ourselves a large version of that resistor, physical version, with the same value. And that way we don't have to run any wires or anything like that. We just pop the part down and go. That's a 201, so we can drop a 402 on it. This is a 402, 68K. You see it's quite large compared to a 201. If it's too large, we'll just go 201 and then put a small jumper on it. I'm kind of curious to see if we can do it this way. There may be concerns about it shorting out, which may be legitimate. Yeah, maybe they will. it's a choice here really. I can cut back some of this ground, or I can choices. Let's try with the 402 to start with. Get our diode mode now. Let's see if we get any shorts. 3.1. You're a dead short on that side. Which is correct because you are in fact ground here, whereas this is PPDC in. Look, honestly, given that that's PP, because that's the DC in, I think I will take that off and scratch back. You can just rest over there. The main reason being is if we don't really want to short jumping across these points. This is a little more awkward than I wanted. I probably should have just run a wire. Hey, I've already committed to this option, so I guess I better at least give it a whirl. What I can do is I'll just put some green goo over it, and the green goo will provide the insulation that I need to avoid a potentially catastrophic flashover. Yeah, I'm kind of overstating things a little bit much. I mean, you got to realise that this already, at the 0201 size, has extremely close tolerances anyway. I mean, you're talking 0.5 millimeter between the two sides. There we go. I suppose we could slide it in a bit more, which means I'll probably botch it up. So again, okay, 1.5 volt, and ground. It's good. Let's check the resistance across that. It should be close to 68k. A little bit less maybe. 3k. That doesn't make sense. It's not even close. Let's try it out. 4.2k. That's very wrong. That is a case of the wrong resistor in the strip. Alright, let's have a look at the book of strips and see why it's wrong. So this is the book. And one thing I noticed is it starts out, okay, we've got our resistances. Yeah, still looking good. So we want 68k. And then suddenly something goes wrong. Oh, I understand what's going on now. These have separated away from the side that it should be. So we had 4.3k, I think it was. So what is the bet that on the other side of this strip we will see, where my finger is, 68k? We do. Yep. So we need 68k then. Ah, man. Cheap stuff. Alright. Easy way to fix this. So 3K3, 4K3, 5K1, 6K8. Good thing we measured that, eh? Amazing. It just happens on the 2 pages that would have made it ambiguous for me, and it certainly did. Well, I'm glad we checked that. Now we should get something just a bit under 68K or 68K. Oops. And that is far more like it. 66, 67. Much, much better. Okay, and there's plenty of clearance there and there. So we'll put a green blob over that, and that will stop any possible risk. I'm going to put in what I'm fairly sure is an SSD that should work for this particular model. It's not guaranteed, but I'm fairly sure it should. I'll give it a boot. So here we go. Just going to use the original MagSafe 2 on this. Got a fan spin straight away, so it's a good start. Oh. Oh no, here it goes. Maybe this is like 3430. Ah, yeah, same generation, 3437. I think I heard a bong there. My hearing could be lying to me. Oh, there we go. We've got an Apple logo. That took a little longer than I would have expected, though. Maybe it was sorting itself out, given that it's probably used to being in a 3437, and I've transplanted it into a. And this is indeed my machine. Yes, I know, it's got a little lipstick thing there, but what can I say? And, right, we've got Yosemite here. That's good. Mouse works. Alright, we're going to close this down. I just realized this is actually my build system for Flex Boardview for the Yosemite. So best I don't mess this one up. There we go, another fix, except this time is a 1465 instead of a 1466. Cute little machines, can be very useful if you've got a limited amount of space, but it was nice to see that this one simply was just probably the input impedance resistor there for the detection of the MagSafe, and the SSD just looks like something happened to the data on there, got converted over to NTFS for whatever reason. But other than that, the machine seems to be going good. So, thank you very much for watching. Until the next time, you take care.